Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Faye Watt, and let's queer up gay culture. Charlie Sheen, first public comments on gay experience as whether he was the top or bottom and HIV positive, excuse me. This weekend, Bill Maher talked to Charlie Sheen on his first live comments about his sexual experiences with men. They talked about the new documentary where, for the first time, Charlie Sheen is openly discussing his past sexual relationships with men. The 60-year-old actor, best known for 2.5 Men, is sharing details in a new Netflix documentary. Charlie, and in his upcoming memoir, The Book of Sheen. Sheen said in the documentary, quote, "Liberating. It's fucking liberating to just talk about stuff. It's like a train didn't come through the side of the restaurant. A fucking piano didn't fall out of the sky. No one ran into the room and shot me," end quote. Speaking to People for this week's cover story, Sheen said that after years of being with women, he decided to explore. On Good Morning America, Sheen admitted his sexual experimentation with men began during his years using crack. Quote, "That's what started it. Some of it was weird and a lot of it was fucking fun," end quote. Sheen also revisited his HIV diagnosis, which he revealed publicly in 2015 after years of secrecy and blackmail. He told People, quote, "I do know for a fact that I never passed it on," end quote. His past, however, remains complicated. In 2020, Corey Feldman alleged that in a film, My Truth, the rape of two Coreys, that the late Corey Aim once described being abused by Sheen as a child star. Sheen has firmly denied those allegations, calling them, quote, "sick, twisted, and outlandish," and urging people to consider Judy Haim's defense of him. Now Sheen says the documentary and memoir let him finally share his story. As for romance, the actor describes his love life today as, quote, "uneventful as it possibly could be," end quote. Still, he adds with a smile, he's, quote, "open to love again, probably not marriage though," end quote. This weekend, Sheen had a hilarious interview on Bill Maher's Real-Time show on HBO discussing whether he was a top or a bottom and his experimentation that may have led to HIV, which Maher called AIDS, and Sheen corrected him as HIV. You know, I watched the documentary, and it was hard to see like the train wreck that he is, right? It's a little triggering as because of my past drug and alcohol issues, but this seems like the next chapter for Charlie Sheen, right? Let me write a book. Let me do a documentary. Let me get some money. I mean, he's 60 years old and probably the luckiest man on earth. Every time he hits a bottom, something wonderful happens for him, like getting all these extraordinary shows, you know? I forgot that he was married to Denise
Richards.
Richards, right, yeah, who is also in the documentary. You know what I mean? Corey Aim saying that, unfortunately, he was abused by him, but his mom stands by Charlie Sheen saying that he didn't. I mean, like, so much stuff coming up from this memoir. Like, it's a little uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah, cats should have, he has more lives than cats, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, because he's really been down and out. And you're about a great time, though. I mean, he's 16, like, letting it all out, you know? Yeah. And just because he has, what does he have really to lose? He only has to gain at this point because, like you see, he's gained a lot over the years.
Yeah,
very fortunately
I think that's the freedom you get when you get sobriety. As someone also who is sober himself, going to be 14 years in November, you tell a lot of stories in your head, especially when you're using and stuff. At least I did. And you know, when you get rid of all that stuff, everything comes pretty clear for you. And like you realize all of the dramatization you had about your life and things in your life, it really doesn't matter what hill of beans. So there's a freedom that comes with that. At least it did for me. And so I was just kind of like, yeah, I did that. So what? You know, it was kind of like, yes, this is part of my story, but it doesn't define who I am.
But it doesn't define who I am. What do you think, Dino, about him talking about sleeping with men and that, you know, and kind of blaming it on the crack? You know what I mean? That was a little uncomfortable for me. What do you think?
I think he's, I mean, I'm glad that he's sober, and, you know, don't get me wrong. I think it's great that he's worked through this.
Maybe he's sober.
Maybe he's sober, but he's always seemed to get rewarded for, you know, the whole, you know, he was the best paid actor on TV back when 2.5 Men, which I love. I love that show. Okay,
Ashton Kutcher was just not it. You know, after when he filled in, it just wasn't.
It wasn't, and he was messed up back then, and somehow nothing touched him. You know, he was geting paid so much money. John Cryer was getting paid
a third of what he was
making. And somehow he survived. And To me, he's kind of like the best example of a nepo baby, a nepo baby.
Well, the whole family is Hollywood, yeah.
And, you know, he's the son of Martin Sheen.
Yeah, the whole family.
For many years, Martin Sheen was out there advocating for people that had addiction issues. I mean, the whole family was. That's why they're not in the documentary. They were like, F you, allá tú, you do you, I'm done.
They're not supporting him through the promotion of the documentary, which is very telling. So
100%. Like, they're done. Again, I'm an addict, okay? I have burned some bridges. When I made amends with some people, a lot of people were like, thank God you stopped drinking. But there were others like, I don't ever want to see you again, and I hope you fall down some stairs. And I had to be okay with that. You know what I mean? Like, I ruined this person's life. I can only imagine. And that's me on a very small little Faye What scale. Can you imagine Faye What with some money and, like, you know, Charlie Sheen status? I mean, he probably messed up half of California, you know?
Yeah.
You were talking off camera about the guy from Friends.
yeah, Matthew Perry. He wasn't that lucky.
No.
You see? I mean, also, you know, a lot of privilege for him, too. But
also a lot of enabling. There's so much enabling.
Well,
because of the money.
so did Charlie.
That's what I mean. That's my point. That's my point.
Yeah.
They're both.
Charlie.
Because they have the money and they have the status and the privilege. So there's enabling.
Look, it's unfortunate. When you first get sober, and Edward can attest to this, right? They tell you, oh, you only have to change one thing. Everything. Right? That's what they tell you. And unfortunately, it's usually, you know, people, places, and things that you have to stay away from for a certain amount of time. And when you have that much money, you have people around you that you're paying. So they're paid to enable you.
Addiction does not discriminate. You know, it doesn't matter who you are in this world, because once it catches you, that's it. And it doesn't matter how much means you have. You will go to any length to get it. So
he was getting blackmailed too from all these men that were sleeping with him were blackmailing him. He had the money to pay them off. So eventually he came out of that because he said, I can't pay anymore. I wasn't going to face this anymore. And that's why he
Money makes it more complicated.
Well, there were also people that were suing him because of supposedly not revealing his HIV status.
His HIV status, exactly right.
You know, so
more to come with it. He said that he knew for a fact that he had not.
How
do you know that?
How would you know? In a crack state? Really?
Right.
I mean, I would wake up and be like, who are you?
Let me just get
who are you?
Let me just get on this pipe for longer.
Why am I naked and who are you? Like, that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.